Welcome back to the Roberta Show, a space for real conversations, real growth, and real transformation. I'm your host, Roberta Tabb, the Affirmation Architect. If you've been listening throughout this season, you've probably noticed something. We've talked about feeling stuck. We've uncovered the patterns that quietly keep us in place. We've cleared away some of the mental clutter. We've talked about fear, self-trust, and making aligned decisions. Now it's time for something different. It's time to move. Because awareness without action becomes another form of staying stuck. And today I want to talk about one of the biggest lies we tell ourselves. The lie is, I'll start when I'm ready. I can't tell you how many times I've heard someone say, I just need a little more confidence. I need to learn a little more. I need to get everything together first. I'll start next month. Or I'll do it when life calms down. Maybe you've even said those things yourself. But here's the truth. Ready is not a feeling, it's a decision. And if you're waiting to feel completely ready before you begin, you may end up waiting much longer than you need to, because confidence doesn't usually come before action. Confidence is built because of action. Think about anything you've ever become good at. You weren't confident the first time. You became confident because you kept showing up. The first workout feels awkward. The first video feels uncomfortable. The first conversation feels scary. The first business idea feels uncertain, and the first no feels impossible. But every first creates a second, and every second creates momentum. That's how growth works. Not through certainty, through repetition. I think one of the biggest misconceptions about personal growth is that transformation begins with confidence. It doesn't. Transformation begins with willingness. The willingness to move before you have all the answers. The willingness to be seen before you feel polished, and the willingness to make mistakes instead of making excuses. Because movement teaches you things that thinking never will. You can spend 6 months planning, or you can spend 1 week taking action and learn more than planning ever could. That's why I always say action creates clarity, not the other way around. So many people believe clarity comes first, that one day they'll wake up, everything will make perfect sense, and then they'll finally take action. But clarity doesn't usually arrive while you're standing still. It meets you while you're moving. It shows up in the process. Let's talk about why we wait. Sometimes we call it preparation. Sometimes we call it being responsible. Sometimes we say we're doing more research. But if we're honest, a lot of waiting is just fear dressed up as productivity. We're afraid of failing, afraid of being judged, afraid of choosing the wrong path, and afraid of discovering we're not as good as we hoped. So we wait. And waiting feels safer than risking disappointment. But here's the question I want you to sit with today. What's the cost of staying exactly where you are? Because we spend so much time thinking about the risks of action. We rarely think about the risks of inaction, the opportunities you never experience, the confidence you never build, the life you never create, and the version of yourself you never meet. Standing still has a cost too. I want you to imagine your future self. The version of you who has grown, who has healed, who has become more confident. Do you think they got there because they finally felt fearless? The answer is no. They got there because they kept choosing movement, one decision, one conversation, one opportunity, one uncomfortable step at a time. Growth has never required perfection. It has always required participation. So how do you begin? You make the next decision, not the next 100. The next one. You send the email. You sign up for the class. You apply for the opportunity. You publish the video. You make the phone call. You have the difficult conversation. You take one aligned step, and then another. Because momentum doesn't appear. It's created. Every action tells your mind, I'm someone who follows through. I'm someone who trusts myself. I'm someone who moves. And eventually, that becomes your identity. Welcome to your affirmation work. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes if you can and repeat these affirmations with intention. I do not need to feel ready to begin. I choose courage over comfort. Every step I take builds my confidence. I trust myself to figure things out along the way. I release perfection and embrace progress. I am capable of taking aligned action. I no longer wait for permission to move forward. My future is created by the choices I make today. Action brings clarity into my life. I trust the path that unfolds as I walk it. I am becoming the person I've been waiting for. Again, I am becoming the person I've been waiting for. I am becoming the person I've been waiting for. I am becoming the person I've been waiting for. Here's your alignment check-in. Ask yourself, what is one action I've been postponing because I'm waiting to feel ready? Your truth. You don't need another sign. You need one courageous step. Your action. Within the next 24 hours, do one thing your future self will thank you for. Don't overthink it. Don't perfect it. Just begin. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this episode reminded you that you've been waiting for permission you don't actually need, I hope you'll carry this thought with you throughout the week. The life you're dreaming about isn't built by waiting until everything feels certain. It's built by choosing yourself again and again, even when the path isn't perfectly clear. Thank you for listening to The Roberta Show. I'm Roberta Tabb, the Affirmation Architect. And until next time, keep choosing alignment, keep trusting yourself, and remember, the first step doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be taken.